Welcome to Sure Jan Podcast. I'm your host, Janice M., where we'll be talking about what it's like being single and dating in your 20s and 30s. So let's get some wine and popcorn and get real about what it's really like. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sure Jan Podcast. I'm your host, Janice M., and I hope everyone out there is having an amazing day, amazing week, and if you aren't, I am sending you positive vibes. What's going on, everybody? I feel like it's been a minute, but we're back, and, we're better than ever. So, let's do a quick check-in, and then we'll get right into the episode. So I feel like I feel like I'm in such a toxic relationship with dating apps because I feel like I say fuck it, I don't want it, and then like a month later it like interests me, and then I fucking re-download them again, and then I'm back on the same old bullshit. It's a never-ending cycle, I feel, at this moment. But right now I'm in the cycle of I'm back on them. Okay, so I met up with this guy, and let's just call him like investment banker man, okay? And I was texting investor banker man, like, so we were like texting kind of, okay, first of all, he is based in California. Like, his job is in California, but one of his partners is based down here. And so like he's here like, I don't know, 4 to 5 times a month. I don't know, something like that. And when we were like talking on the app, I didn't know this information. So then when we like exchanged numbers and we were texting and he was like telling me this information, I was like, oh, okay. I was like, well, that kind of works out because I'm not really looking for anything like too serious right now. Cause I'm still working on myself. So I'm like, cool, this could be like something fun maybe. Like I could have somebody like just hang out like every so often, like whatever. So anyways, we get to texting and he's like, hey, like, do you want to like meet up for drinks? Like, I'm like, sure, like, let's do that. So what was it? I think it was like 2 weeks ago or something like that. Or maybe a week ago. I feel like my days are all like fucking like blending together, but I met up with him, and y'all, this man was like fine as fuck. Like, he was. Like, I was like, okay, all right. And honestly, the night didn't go as I planned. I ended up meeting him. So he was staying in a hotel, but like I met him like to get drinks at like the hotel bar. Like that's what we did. And we did that, and like I was just kind of seeing like, either like we're just gonna end it with drinks or end it with drinks and then I, go back with him. We'll see what the fuck happens, right? I just kind of wanted to play it by ear. And so I end up literally meeting this, I meet him, like we instantly kind of like click a little bit, and I end up being back in his hotel, and like things are going okay. Homeboy like just grabs me and starts making out with me. I'm like, all right, like, my girl down there hasn't seen any action in a minute, so let's see what the fuck's gonna happen, right? And so we're like, we're doing like, we're doing foreplay and stuff, and like, y'all, I am putting my best fucking work, right? And I guess I shouldn't have put that much of best work. This dude, at one point throughout us like doing what we were doing, he's like, oh, I thought you told me you didn't have a gag reflex. And I looked at him and I'm like, and in my mind, y'all, like, obviously, like, I did not say this at all, any part of a night or through text or anything like that. So I don't know where the fuck this man got this information from, but I was like, no. Like, I just looked at him and I'm like, no, like, what the fuck? So anyways, I was like, what the entire fuck? But yeah, we pretty much, I didn't have sex with him, so that's the bummer. Yeah, he came pretty fast. Like I said, probably shouldn't have put in all my best work, A bitch's throat was kind of hurting her the next day. I was like, do I have COVID or did this man just really go that hard? I didn't have COVID, but I was like, yeah, he clearly fucking went that hard because I'm like, all right, first of all, I'm not like a never ending hole that like has no bottom. Like, bitch, like you are gonna kill me. Like, what were you doing? I kind of like it happened. Like he came, and like not even like he was like he didn't come in my mouth, but he like came on my boobs. And you know that awkward fucking moment when you're just laying there while he like go gets you a towel to fucking clean up all the cum off you. I don't know if you're fucking dirty like I am. Like I'm like, yeah, come on me, it's fine, it's cool. Anyways, he like fucking come on my boobs, and y'all, I am literally just laying there like do 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 do, like, all right, when the fuck is this dude gonna hurry the fuck up? He like gives me a towel. He like kind of helps me like wipe my boobs because obviously like anyways. And I was just kind of so over it. I like literally he went to the bathroom. I never put my clothes on so fucking fast in my entire life. And he was like, "Oh, are you gonna go?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go." And then he was like, "Oh, okay." And he was like, he's like, "I had a really good time." And I'm like, "I know you did, dude." My boobs know you did, dude. Like, I know you did. Like, yeah, I know. Um, and then I like kind of left, but he like texted me the next day saying like, how like he had such a good time, like, we should hang out when he comes back because he like was leaving the next day. And yeah, I don't know if I'm ever gonna see this man again. A couple things I really didn't like. He was just kind of like bragging about like how much money he makes, which is like fine, like get your coin, like I'm happy for you, like that's awesome. But like I don't know if you thought that was like I was like, I don't know if you thought that was gonna get me wet or something, and I'm like, oh yeah, fuck me, daddy, like all your money, I want it. Like I don't know what the fuck he thought was gonna happen by telling me this information, but I'm like, all right, like you're going a little too, much for, like telling me about how much the fuck you make. So yeah, it was just it was a little too much, but yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna see this man again. We'll see. He said he's gonna come back in May, so I'll update y'all if May comes and goes. Like obvious, and I don't mention this man again. Obviously, I never heard from. I didn't hear again from him. But yeah, I just kind of like left it like open, I guess. Like, yeah, if you come back, but like I'm not doing that. I'm not giving you head any like you're gonna fuck me, bro. Like he has like his penis size was pretty decent. I thought it was, I'm like, okay, I could work with this. So, I'm not, I wouldn't say I'm like disappointed I went. I just feel like I'm more like, I could have stayed home. I didn't need to do all this. I'm like, sure, I got a free drink out of it, but like, did I? Like, did I need to do this, So, it's one of those things, wow, my voice just cracked mid, like, sentence, but, it's one of those things where you're just kind of like, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Like, I literally was, like, in the situation, I'm like, and I'm like in my car, like after I left, I'm like in my car and I'm just like, kind of thinking and stuff while I'm driving because that's like when I do like my best thinking. But I was just like, wow, like, oof. I don't know. I'm like, I'm actually okay if I never hear from this man again. Like, that's how my head was at. So, like, I don't know. It's something fun to have on the side because he was hot, and it's like, why not? And then it's another thing that I'm like, if I don't hear from this man, it's like, okay, like, I won't die. I will live. Like, it'll be fine. Him and I never need to speak again. It's cool. Enough about this man. I kind of want to get into today's episode, and I kind of wanted to talk about a little bit of kind of like why do we get so attached after we have sex? Like the minute sex happens, like we're automatically attached to that person. Obviously, like as much as we don't want to make it like an emotional thing, like sex is just so intimate that like it cannot not be a little bit emotional. Like it can be emotional in the moment and you can like, you some people don't harbor like, you know what I mean? Like look into that feeling that they're having while having sex with somebody, whatever, and they just feel like whatever is just like so emotional where like connecting in this way. Like I feel like that, but if that makes any fucking sense. I feel like I'm like, I don't know, talking like in like weird, I don't know, hypothetical type of weird shit. But anyways, so when I lost my virginity when I was 19. And, when I lost my virginity, it was literally like, so we had sex. It was with this guy that I went to high school with. He was a year older than I was. And, yeah, he was a year older than I was. And I don't know. He was like cute. He wasn't like, he wasn't really, really my type. Like his friend was the one that I was more into anyways. I had sex with him too, but that's a story for another day. But the guy that like I ended up like losing my virginity to, like he knew I was a virgin. Like I told him I was a virgin. Like, we had these conversations, some kind of were a bit explicit. And, when we were speaking, I was telling him, like it's my first time and, like this was, when I was 19, this was the first time I ever like lived. I didn't live at home. Like I lived in a dorm. Actually, my dorm was a hotel because I went to Suffolk University, and when you're a freshmen and sophomores, they house you. They give you options of housing, I should say. And we had so many freshmen that they rented hotels. So we had the Holiday Inn that was like, and we had like 4 floors for the Holiday Inn. And then that wasn't enough. And so I was fortunate enough to, they also like rented 2 floors in the Hyatt. And I was fortunate enough to be one of those people that lived in the Hyatt. So I didn't have like the small like twin bed. I had like a full size bed. Like it was pretty fucking sweet. It was my freshman year of college was like a very like, it was awesome. But anyways, besides the point. So my roommate, at the time, she was like at some party or something. So I knew she wasn't going to be home or she wasn't going to come back that night. I knew she was going to come back in the morning. So I was like, oh, sweet. So him and I were texting, and I was telling him how like I was like alone, and, my roommate was going to be back till the morning. And, him and I were just kind of, he was like, oh, like, do you want to hang out? Like, I'll come over to you. And I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. And we ended up, we were watching like a movie, and then we ended up, making out. And then all of a sudden, like, obviously we were in the process of having sex. Now, we had sex, and like this man fucked me like a little jackrabbit, right? It was just like bam, 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 and then we were done. And I literally just like he went to the bathroom and I was like laying there and I'm like, this is sex. Like this was fucking whack. Like what the fuck was this? You know what I mean? Like I wasn't understanding why like everybody hyped this shit up. Like this shit sucked. Like this wasn't great. Like you know what I mean? I've had at that moment in time like I had all these expectations and like and what I imagined sex would be and like that was not it. Okay? That was really not fucking it. So I was like, "Oh my god, this was horrible." But after we had sex and I was just like, no. I still wanted to have sex with him again. Like I wanted to have sex with him again. Like I was immediately attached. Like I had such a weird like soft spot for him and I get it's like, it's your first time and it's like special, so it's like it's something that's cemented in you right after, like having sex for the first time is a really, really, really big deal. So it's one of those things where, you know, in your mind, like this person just holds some weird spot, like in your heart. So that I feel like that was like, obviously when I figured out being attached to somebody else, solely based on sex, right? Now, this wasn't my first time that happened. Like, well, it was my first time, but it wasn't my only time, I should say. And yeah, I always wondered, I'm like, with him, I understood because it was my first time. So of course, this man held like, a soft spot in my heart. So for me, I was like, wow, like why, like I had to like look this shit up too. I'm like, why do we get so attached to these men after we have sex with them? Like, what is it that they hold that to us? We're like, I can't stop thinking about this man. Like, for me, some of these men, right? Like, I pictured, you know, I pictured like lives with them, right? I pictured like a future with some of these men. And I look back on it and I'm like, for what? Like, what did this person offer me? What was me being with this person like? What was I going to do? Like, you know, it just, they weren't, I was like, why did I, because what, we had such an emotional, or if the sex was really good, like I get, I'm like, oh my God, like if we're connecting so well sexually, like maybe we'll connect so well, like emotionally and, mentally, like we're going to get there. Right. And so it's like, it's a weird thing that we do. And I know so many people that like the minute they have sex with somebody, they are immediately attached. Like sex to them, they can't like, they wouldn't be able to do like a one night stand because that just would not work for them. Because they just get so attached. So they wouldn't be like, I can't not have sex with you only once. Like I would need to see you again. Like I would want to see you again, or I would want to maybe date you or anything along those matters, or along those lines and stuff. And yeah, it's so fucking bizarre that we do that shit. Like, I look back on the people that I was fucking attached to, that I wanted, like, some fucking relationship with, and I'm like, for what reason? For what? Like, I used to talk to this guy. He's a police officer. We no longer talk anymore, but anyways. And I used to talk to him. I used to get so... We used to have sex. Like, he was, like, my sex buddy. Like, we had sex, like, quite often, for years, like off and on for years. And I was so attached to him. Like we connected and we were like cool. Like, we would talk about things sometimes and like, I would go over there and, it wasn't like I'd only go over there to like meet have sex and then that would be it. Like, that wasn't the thing that happened. Like, we would do that, but like we would also hang out. Like, I also like had like kind of like a friendship, with him. So for me, I got like, I got so attached, but I started getting really, really attached when, when we first started having sex, because we connected so well. Like, I thought like sex with him was like amazing for me. That was like the first time ever that like, I was super, super comfortable like having sex. Like I wasn't like self-conscious while we were having sex. Like, and I was like, why is it that like this person, even when we first had sex, I was so comfortable. And let me tell you, like, am I a good fuck? Do I think I'm a good fuck? Yes, I do. Like, I don't mean to toot my own fucking horn, but I know what the fuck I'm doing, right? And, I own my shit. And whenever I have sex with somebody, like, and I'm always like, thinking in the back of my head stuff, I'm thinking like, is he looking, are my rolls showing? Like, is he looking at my stomach fat? Like, what is he looking? Like, I'm in my head, right? And so when we had sex for the first time, I didn't have I wasn't thinking that. Like, I was actually like enjoying the moment, actually enjoying what was going on. So like, it wasn't a situation where I was in my head, which sometimes that does happen. Not all the day I have like bad bitch confidence, like sometimes like I'm not in that place. Like we're not perfect. So we're a little self-conscious and just are, we just are self-conscious about how we're having sex, how we looking while we fucking, you know what I mean? Like, so it's one of those things where when I'm in a situation, like, so this is a perfect example, right? If I am super comfortable with somebody and we have sex and the sex is good, a little part of me gets attached to this person. And like, I've always wondered, I'm like, what the fuck is it, right? Is it because I feel super comfortable and it's a way that I like, now I'm playing shit in my mind, like, ooh, maybe this person is gonna be like, maybe something will happen between me and this person. Like, who the fuck knows? Like, like we're sexually, like, I feel like we're compatible sexually, so why else wouldn't we be compatible any other way, right? So that's like the shitty part of like, when you're that attachment that you get when you're having sex with somebody and, instead of it being something casual, like, sometimes we create shit in our head to be like, oh, possibly, he could want, something more with me, right? So like the guy that I, used to have sex with on and off, I grew some type of attachment to him. And unfortunately, I'm really upset that I like, he turned out not to be like the greatest person, but like, I was upset with myself for getting attached because he basically told me like he wasn't looking for, he's like, I'm not really looking for, a girlfriend. I'm not really looking to date. I'm just looking to just like enjoy what we're doing. And he like, and in my mind, I'm like, but maybe I could change him. Maybe I could like, maybe because everything's so good sexually, why can't it be? And then we like get along in another sense. Why can't, we potentially like be in a relationship or, something potentially happening between me and him. You know what I mean? Like, obviously I'm living in the life of delusion. And I was back then, like, knowing what I know now, I wish I knew back then, or I wish I had the confidence or, the courage to just be like, all right, girl, if you're basically looking for something, if you're looking for, your person or you're looking to date, whatever like that. And if somebody tells you like, nah, like you need to walk your ass away from that. You know what I mean? Because you are setting yourself up for fucking heartache, right? And I feel like sometimes that happens especially when you have sex. Like I literally have friends that, they really can't have a casual they can't have casual sex. Like, it just can't be like that because they grow some type of attachment. You know what I mean? I've been victim to that. Like, I shouldn't say victim. I've been guilty of doing that. Um, of just literally having sex with this dude and like start catching feelings as if him and I are, ready to, ready to like plan our fucking future and do all this shit. Like, I feel like we get these type of things I feel like, I keep saying I feel like, Jesus, reel it in, Jan. Because of, I would say, growing up, like movies and shows and how the way they portrayed sex and how sex was, and it was so romanticized. Like, they just romanticized sex so much, and then like just kind of like the connection and the bond, and just it kind of being like something, super, like shit, like in the Notebook type of stuff. And so I feel like when us as women, when we watch shit like this, sometimes we have, like, I know for myself, I had this like romanticized like expectation of what sex was, and sex, you should, when you're having sex with somebody, and if you feel that, that connection, that means, it's something more than what it is, and I don't know. It's just like, it's like, nah, bitch. She just like, you're just dickmatized. Like, you're not, like, you're dickmatized. Like, you're not attached to this man because this man has a qualities that you fucking want. Like, it's not like he has something there for me. Like, sometimes I would get like dickmatized and think that like I actually like somebody. And I feel like sometimes that shit happens when you're growing a connection with somebody and it's like, it starts off very sexual and you think it's gonna blossom into something else. It's like, no, girl. You got fucking dickmatized. Like, there's no ands, ifs, or buts. Like, this person is probably not a good person for you. Yeah, they're dicking you down tremendously, but like, it's not gonna go anywhere else that you think it's gonna go. Like, you're setting yourself up for disaster, especially if they let you know that they ain't looking for that shit. Like, sometimes we start to like, put shit in our head, and then, instead of in like La La Land, like type of fantasy in our head, that we try to make it a reality, and then, but in reality, it's like, no, girl, like, that was a fantasy. Like, this is not real. Like, read between the fucking lines, like, read what the fuck is happening with you right now, And, like, I can say for a fact, I've had a couple men dickmatize me where I thought, this guy point example, right? This guy, I was super dickmatized from him that I thought, oh my God, like, y'all gonna fucking laugh at me. Like, girl was like on like verge of saying like, ooh, I might love him. Like, that's how like fucking crazy it was. That's how like attached to this man I was. That's how like dickmatized this man like made me. Like, I was thinking like I was feeling all these big feelings for him, but I wasn't. You know what I mean? In reality, looking back, I didn't love this man. I didn't like feel these things for this man. I didn't really want to be with him. I just liked the idea of who he was and the idea of like potentially what I thought it could be, but it wasn't. And he just wasn't, clearly was not the person for me. Clearly it didn't work out the way I thought it was going to work out. And, I had to learn. Like, I had to learn, like, hey, like, when somebody fucking tells you, like, I don't want anything, like, fucking believe what they're saying. Like, if somebody point blank, if you're having a conversation about what you're looking for and what you want, especially, like, I should say, and like, especially when you're first talking to somebody, this is how like maybe this could prevent you from getting down this path. I would like kind of figure out where the fuck y'all are at. If you're the type of person that every time you fuck somebody, you start to catch feelings, even if you don't want it, like, you're not a person that can casually have sex, okay? You're the type of person that like needs to be in a relationship or needs some type of commitment towards that person in order for it to like, because if you have sex, you're gonna like literally be like, oh my God, like, this is my person, right? Like, I know people that are like that, said that's that's where we're at with that. Okay. But if you're, I always say like communication is key. So literally figure out where you're at with where this person's at and where you're at. If they're just looking for some casual sex type of thing with no feelings, no nothing, and you're looking for something more, maybe that's not a situation you need to fucking be in. Or if they're saying like, I don't know, like I'm kind of seeing where I'm at, like I'm just kind of going with the flow, okay? Know that is kind of similar. That's kind of guy talk for. I hate when men say that shit. I'm just kind of going with the flow. When I say I'm going with the flow, like I actually mean I'm going with the fucking flow. And if something happens potentially between us, then something fucking happens. However, when men normally say, hey, like I'm going with the flow type of shit, they actually mean, nah, bitch, I just want to fuck. I literally want to fuck, and I want us to be like fuck buddies and move it along that way. Like if we can make this into a fuck buddy type of situation, then that's cool. And 90% of the time is what that scenario is. Because I feel like every single time I've heard, or I heard from friends, heard from other people, when men say like I'm just kind of going with the flow, like majority of the time it's them wanting a casual sex situation. And if the other person isn't like as willing as they are, then it kind of like disintegrates, like that whole situation disintegrates. And then the girl in the situation's like, what did I do? Like, why is this guy ghosting me? Why is this guy being like that? Or like, or if you start showing feelings or start saying things and they start like, ghosting you and stuff, majority of the time that's probably why. They're like, I told her I didn't want anything. I'm not sure like what changed in her mind for her to think that that's what I want, right? And I feel like because we're so dickmatized and and we think of some fantasy, we just get so attached that we just come up with these unrealistic scenarios, like unrealistic, like it's not a reality. We're all living in la la land, like when we think that way, Believe what people say. Honestly, that if you can take anything from this episode, believe what the fuck people say to you. Especially when you're talking to somebody about what your intentions are, what you're looking for, what you want moving forward with that person. Like, believe what they say. So if a guy tells you like, I'm literally looking for like a fuck buddy type of situation, believe that he's just looking for a fuck buddy. He's not trying to wife you. He's not trying to date you. Like none of that shit. Like that is bullshit. If he wanted to date you, he would tell you, I'm looking to date. I'm looking to potentially find like my wife. I'm my future partner, whatever. If that's where they're going with the conversation, then okay. Now you're on the path of, now you both are on the same page, right? It's like women that get attached super easily and then, kind of get the, when the guy starts resisting, like, he's trying to like, he's reeling back a little bit, like start to figure that sometimes like that shit happens. Like, cause we just get this fantasy in our mind that it's just telling us, hey, maybe this guy could be like, maybe he could be the one, like, who knows, like, I mean, it's like, no, you're just dickmatized. And you need to get that fantasy out of your head because you are literally going to hurt yourself. Like, it's not like this man's going to really hurt you because at the end of the day, especially when I dealt with that guy, it was me. Like, I'm the one that was like creating these things. Like I was the one that created it. Like even though he told me he didn't want to have anything to do with the relationship, I was still thinking that I wanted a relationship. Even though he was just like, I just wanted it to be casual and just to be fun, like nothing, no feelings, no nothing. I'm the one that was catching feelings. The homegirl thought she was like falling in love or something. You know what I mean? So it was like, it's one of those things where you're just like, yeah, this isn't it. Like, this was not what I thought it was going to be. Honestly, during it started making me, like, act out of character. You know what I mean? Like, I felt like I was becoming this person that I didn't want to be. Like, I was becoming, I was trying to make myself into a version that I think he would have liked, or I was trying to just change myself so that I was like, all right, like I am the person for you. Like I'm here, dude. Like, hello, you know what I mean? Like type of shit. So like I was going above and beyond and trying to do shit to like, make myself, I don't know, a potential for him. Maybe I could, woo him so much that he's looking at me like, wow, I'm seeing her in a different light. I'm seeing her in this way, And like I said, it took me a while to like figure out. It's like if somebody doesn't realize like your worth in that moment, or realizes that you are, you're worth it, like you're worthy, because you are. If somebody's not understanding or realizing the like level of worthiness that you are, and you're worthy of all these things, and someone to treat you correctly, someone to like want the same things that you want, someone that's going to love you unconditionally, someone that's going to like just want to be with you because they want to be with you. You know what I mean? Not because you're changing yourself, you're sacrificing other things to make this person happy, So it's tough. It's tough because like, I wish I could have told myself these things, like my younger self, these things, like, don't let somebody change who you are. Don't let somebody make you think that you need to change who you are just so that, they can feel better about themselves, or, you can make them feel like, oh, okay, I'm still getting like, I'm having my cake and eating it too. You're giving them all the benefits of a girlfriend or all the benefits of a partner without giving them the title that you want, that they don't want. They're like, all right, I'm getting all these things and I don't even have to like be in a relationship with this person. Like, this is great. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. You're sacrificing all this shit because you're getting so attached to this person. You know what I mean? So like, it's really easy to get attached. Like when I'm saying when I'm talking about being attached to somebody after having sex with them, and like, or even start talking to somebody, I'm not even talking about like physical, like, yeah, being dickmatized. Yeah, that's one aspect of it. But in another sense, like I've been like emotionally, like I got emotionally attached to men that, weren't even I wasn't even sexually having sex with them. Like, so it was one of those things where on paper, they were everything I wanted, right? They were checking off certain boxes that I wanted. But in reality, like checking off this unrealistic checkbox that I had at the time, right? They were like, you know, over 6 feet, check, like super superficial shit. Not like really, not really things that, I would want in a partner. So I would get emotionally attached because I would make up in my mind, like, oh, this is so good. Like, I love this trait about this person. And, they're so sweet with certain things, or, they could possibly be like, a good, boyfriend in the future, or, like I could see this person as a great partner, and it's like, stop being so like, stop creating these scenarios, stop creating this like alternate reality that you're trying to, make up into seeming like, this person is your person. Like, just because like they're saying the right things, or, you start liking somebody, and then like, I'm the type of person, like, sometimes when I like somebody, I like them really fast. It's like quick and fast. Like, I already start creating these feelings and start having these feelings, whatever. I try to, in my mind, I'm like, I'm a thug. I ain't trying to have no like feelings for you. Like, I'm gonna be like, you won't know that I have these feelings, but in my mind and, in my heart and all that stuff, like I'm creating all these things, in my mind. I'm like, oh, I really like him. He's checking off boxes that I think that potentially could make a good, good boyfriend, and, potentially maybe something more than that, like maybe a future husband or anything along those lines, because, it's like kind of like, I feel like when we get super attached to somebody, it's like we're searching for something that we're missing, like that we feel like we're missing, and we think this person is like, is that missing link that we're looking for. So that's why we're like, we get so invested when we're attached. We get super, super invested. And then when it like falls apart, we're like fucking heartbroken because we just build this shit up so much, and this like connection that we think that we're having with this person so much. And then when it doesn't work out, it's so fucking heartbreaking. So it's tough. It's super tough. It's so disheartening to know that the only reason why you're, you know, growing these attachments towards these people is because you feel like there's some type of void in your life that, you know, needs to be filled by this person, right? That's why when I have been telling you guys, like, I'm not in the space to date somebody right now, is because I feel like there's something that I need to fix internally with myself in order for me to be able to give, you know, be able to be confident in myself, not feel like I need anything. Because I don't want to feel like, you know, I need somebody to be happy in the rest of my life. Like, would I want, like, would that be nice to have somebody? Absolutely. But I don't feel like I want to be at a place in my life where I'm like, I don't need a man to be happy in my life. I don't need him to fill any spots or fill anything. I want to be as happy as I can be with myself, and be like, if anybody else I want to share that same joy and happiness with, that's great. But like, I don't want to feel like the next person I start dating, I get attached to them because I want them to fill some type of void or fill some type of something in me that I feel like is missing, right? Like, I'm the one that needs to fill in that missing piece for myself, not like another person filling in that missing piece. And I feel like if you're in that same, like, we're on the same page here, and you kind of have gone through the same thing that I've gone through, I just feel like looking like outside and other places for something that you feel like is missing is not the right option. Like, I feel like it's more of a, you know, it's an internal thing where just as a human being, just as like a, you know, a person, you know, sometimes we're missing things in our lives that we just don't know, you know, like, even the people that have, like, you know, sometimes there's like rich people, right? You're like, oh, you have all the money in the world to get you whatever you want, but they're like, they're always missing. They're like, oh, like, I'm missing something, even though like I have things to like fulfill my life, you know, I'm still missing things, you know. There's always like a missing piece. You gotta like internally look at what the fuck the missing piece is. Like, what is wrong? Is it like I want somebody and I get attached to somebody because what? They're like, they compliment me every like 20 minutes to be like, oh, like, you're beautiful, you're this, you're that. You know what I mean? It's just, it's tough to think that it's a tough pill to swallow, because you think like, you know, the only reason why I'm really getting attached to people is because something's missing, and I feel like this person's gonna like they're the missing piece to whatever is the void that I'm missing in my life. Like, it's holding me back, you know, something's holding me. Like, is it this person? Is it like I need them to fill in this bubble that like I don't have? Like, if I'm like, you know, if I'm self-conscious and this person's like, you know, I need this person to feed me all these affirmations for me not to feel this way about myself. You know what I mean? It's like, no, like, you need to not feel this way. You need to fix it yourself instead of relying on somebody else to fix it for you. So that's why I feel like, you know, when I say like something's voided, this is why we're being so attached. Sometimes, like, you know, women that have like, like daddy issues or issues with men, like, and they just attach themselves to any, you know, like to men that are not good for them, but they just have this void that they're trying to fill, and anybody that like, I don't know, gives any attention to that void, they're like, okay, yeah, Absolutely. And just like fucking like suffocate that shit to be like, yeah, no, this is what I need. And then, you're only setting yourself up for fucking disaster if you go that route. And that's why all the situations, every time I've had those type of situations, like, it has not panned out for me the way I want to. It hasn't. And not one time. I promise you, not one of the situations, and I've dated a lot of men. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I have, like, and it has not worked. And the times that has been a situation where I thought this person was like, they were filling some type of fucking void that I was looking for, like, it didn't help. As much as, that's why there were men that I dated that were like, they were good people, but they just weren't right for me. But I thought they were filling something that I needed to figure out myself. And I thought they were that missing link to help me with that problem, So and I'd be so attached to them. Like, yeah, they're doing this for me. But then, when you do a lot of self-reflecting, you start thinking, you're like, why am I still not happy? Why am I still missing something? Why am I still not in the space that I think that I'm supposed to be in? Why am I, like, relying on... Like, why am I being so dependent on this person? Why am I just relying on this person to fill this shit for me, this void that I'm missing? That's why I'm like, and I'm attaching myself to this person so that they can fill that void for me. Like, why am I doing that? Like, what the, this is not going to help me. Like, this is not going to help you, like, talking to myself, right? Like, Jan, this isn't going to help you in the fucking future. Like, this won't help you. Like, you need to figure this shit out on your own. You need to not use this man as, like, some, like, medication that's going to help you, like, with this sickness or this thing that you're missing or, whatever, Weird example, but, you guys, hopefully you guys are getting what I'm saying. You're picking up what I'm throwing down, okay? So it's like one of those things where, when you get attached and shit doesn't work and it goes left and you only did this to fill out some void, because, hey, that's a majority of the reason why we, grow an attachment towards somebody, because they're missing, some type of, you're missing something and you think in your mind that this person is, like, filling in that piece for you. So, yeah. Don't do what I did. Like, I've learned from my mistakes. I'm 32 years old. I'm in a point in my life where I'm just kind of like, yeah, I don't have time for this shit. Like, if somebody tells me they ain't about that life or they don't want anything with me, like, why am I going to waste my fucking time? Like, I did that shit in my early 20s and it was dumb as hell because, obviously I learned from it. So, like, in hindsight, it was good that I learned from these experiences, but, like, I just wish I told myself, like, don't dim yourself, don't dim your light just so that somebody else can, don't dim your shit just so that, like, you can appease somebody else, like, and stop letting, because you're missing something, stop letting a man, like, change your integrity. Like, your integrity kind of goes away. You know what I mean? Like, if a man's like, I don't really want you in that capacity, and I'm like, no, like, eventually he'll start, and I'm losing some of my integrity there. Like, a lot of me thinking in my mind, like, this man straight up told you, girl, he don't want you, and you were dickmatized, where you're thinking, oh my God, no, but, like, he's fitting all these boxes, and you're thinking these things in your mind, and you're like, yeah, no. I will tell you, like, it's probably not going to work out. To tell you the shit that's not. If you guys aren't on the same level, or one of you is just being super, super fucking attached, like, being dickmatized, because that shit does fucking happen. Like, it's happened to me a few times. Like, shit does work. Like, you don't need somebody to fill in some fucking void. Like, that's why I feel like the whole attachment thing is, like, it sucks, but it does happen. But, we need to, like, start doing some more self-reflecting to figure out, like, why the fuck we're being attached to people that we shouldn't be attached to. Why the fuck are we, like, holding or, like, lighting a torch for these fucking people that don't fucking deserve it? You don't need to do that. If I could give you some tips on like ways to stop trying to be like emotionally like attached to somebody is like, maybe like I said, filling out these voids, maybe like figure out why you're getting attached so easily. Like mental health is like everything. I always tell people like, therapy is like chef's kiss. Like if you think like, oh, I don't think I need to go to therapy, but you're the type of person that gets like attached too easily, and you're doing these type of things, like maybe seek somebody that's like non-biased that can give you like find the root of why these things are happening. You know what I mean? Speak with somebody that's licensed to like a professional to help you. Like slow things down and like start working on, positive things. Like pick up a fucking hobby. Like I said hobby. Yikes. Pick up a hobby. You know what I mean? Like pick up something that's like positive, something that's like distracting. Give yourself some fucking time. Lean on your friends, lean on your family for support. If you don't have a lot of friends, like lean on your family for support. Like, write down a list, clarify your values, clarify what you are actually fucking looking for. And look at this person and be like, what is this person like? Why am I attached to, like, what qualities of this person is making me so drawn to them? Like, if you are that type of person, that gets attached so easily, like, what about this person that's making you want something more with this person? Like, start writing down a list. Write the pros and cons of this shit. If there's more cons than pros, then clearly you're in a situation, or if they're not sharing the same feelings or not sharing the same values that you want, or in this situation, then this is probably not, you should probably not like move forward with that. You are a bad bitch. You're beautiful, you're smart, and you're courageous. Understand that, your value and your worth is like top tier. Okay? Don't like stop making people make you feel like you need to change who you are change who you are to make you the perfect person for them. Like, it should be the other way around. Like, they should be like who you want them to be. Like, my ideal person should just be my ideal person because those are the actual qualities that they actually have. Not I'm like creating, like I'm trying to build the perfect man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, no one's perfect, but like build the man that is like what the qualities and strengths that I want him to have, like stop trying to fantasize and like make shit up that this person has if they don't have it. So, like I love y'all, I like, I always want you guys to succeed. I always want, like the best for you guys, so like honestly, like it's tough because when you're fucking dating, you're trying to get around, you're in that, space, and you're in that dating like world and stuff. It's really easy to get fucking very caught up. It's very, very easy to get super caught up. So that's why, like, don't be super hard on yourself. I know I kind of like, was kind of being a little, giving a little bit tough love when I was saying certain things, but, don't be too hard on yourself. Like, this shit is super easy. It's super easy to, like, get caught up in shit. It's super easy to get wrapped up in somebody. Like, it's not hard to do that. So, like, just be mindful when that does happen to, like, take a step back and start thinking, like, hey, like, why am I so, like, in this so quick or so hard like this? Like, what is it? Like, is it because this person's reciprocating the same thing and we're both on the same page and we're going hard for each other? Or is it very one-sided? Like, these are things you need to, like, think about, like, when you're starting to grow these attachments towards a person, So, I love talking to you guys. I love going over I love talking about my old experiences because I feel like they're all, like, it's all learning and growing experiences, I say. Like, I don't really look at my past as a mistake. I just look at it just like, obviously, these are learning, these are learning things that I had to, like, learn along, like, as I was growing up and as I'm more maturing and as, even in my 20s, I wasn't like the most mature. Like, the way I handle certain things like wasn't the best. So, as a 32-year-old, I'm not saying like how I'm handling things are perfect either. Like, I'm a learning, I'm a learning and growing process. Like, I'm a learning and growing person. So I'm still on this path. I know some of you, like, I appreciate everybody like reaching out when you guys listen to my episodes and they're relating to you, and, we can have these type of discussions like, this shit's real. Like, this shit happens when you're fucking dating. Like, it's so easy to get fucking attached to somebody, and it happens. Like, it's like in a blink of an eye, like, you're like, fuck, like, I like this person. Like, oh my God, like, this person's doing, you know what I mean? It's super fucking easy, but just give yourself some fucking time. And if it's like too much, too fast, like, start realizing, why am I feeling all these things for this person so fast? What is it about this person? Are they even reciprocating the same fucking feelings that I have? And it's like, if you can't even answer, like, if they're reciprocating it back in the same level, then that's something where you have to like take a step back and like, pause, But I love talking to you guys. I'm so happy I could get on this episode and, chat with you guys. I love you. I can't wait for, to release more episodes. I have a lot of stuff coming up. And yeah, I hope you guys have an amazing day. Love you. Mwah. Bye.